Can you behave while Mama makes a video? Hi. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should, because, I don't know, we're going to talk about that next week. Whether or not I still talk about geeky things or not. But today is the year-end video, and I realized as I went through my old video from last year, I am wearing the same shirt, and that was totally unintentional. Also, I have come to the realization that all of my makeup is probably expired because it's been open for more than a year. You done? Okay. Anyway, so I'm not wearing makeup today. And you know, quite frankly, like, I don't know, I go back and forth on whether or not I want to wear makeup for my videos or not. So there's that. But as always, we're going to, oh, you want me to throw this? Oh, this is gonna be not good. He's gonna knock over my tripod. He's obsessed with me throwing his Kong, because it's rubber, so it bounces, and he gets to chase it. Anyway, not just go after it as it's being thrown. Hello, Apollo. This is why I still lock you up when I make videos, although I have not made a video. We're going to talk about why I didn't make a video for a long time next week. So this is all about 2021, which obviously we're going to touch on part of why I stopped making YouTube videos, but yeah. So let's go ahead. If you are new here, basically the year before, I always ask myself some questions, and then I answer those questions in the next year's video. So like last year, 2020, at the end of 2021, I answered a bunch of questions I asked in 2020, and then I asked questions for me now. So let's go ahead and go through the questions that I asked myself last year, and we'll answer them and see how much my life has changed, or how much I expected to get done I actually got done. Spoiler alert. There's a lot where I went, nope, yikes. And we're gonna start out with kind of an emotional element, because the second question still makes me sad. So let's just jump right in. So at the at the end of last year, I asked myself, how's Apollo? He's fine, he's right here. He's crazy, but I love him. He's a good boy. Matter of fact, I went through a long portion of this year, which I'll explain obviously in the next question if you are unfamiliar with what happened at the end of last year, where I filmed a video, and before it even went live, this major change that I asked about occurred. I went through a good portion of this year actually resenting Apollo. It did not change how I took care of him or the fact that I loved him. I obviously very much loved him since the moment I got him, and that never changed. But I did go through a portion of time resenting him because he wasn't Cosmo. And the thing with Apollo is he's the exact opposite of Cosmo. So he's on the smaller end of the golden spectrum. Cosmo is on the bigger end of the golden spectrum. So he's about 54 pounds, 55 pounds, which is on the smaller end, especially for males in the spectrum of golden retrievers. He is very cuddly. Cosmo was not cuddly at all. He's very high strung, very athletic. Cosmo was not an athletic dog. He enjoyed walks, but he would rather kind of sit around and just hang out. Apollo wants to be more active. Hi, I know you're being a good boy. Yes, you are. Cosmo was a very vocal dog, and Apollo is not. Apollo really doesn't bark unless he's like crated and I'm upstairs, or I'm down here and he's feeling like he's being neglected. So like in the morning, he's usually crated when I'm eating generally. And that's just because he's never really fully learned. He is learning now, struggling to learn, but still kind of trying to learn how to let me eat in peace. Because again, he's very cuddly, he wants to be involved, he wants to be, you know, with me at all times. So and it's not necessarily he wants to steal my food. He definitely tries to do that from time to time too. But he fully understands that when I'm eating, that's my food. And if there's anything left, not that I would give it to him, but dog hierarchy, wolf hierarchy, all of that canine hierarchy stuff is the person in charge eats first. If there's anything left, then the lower dogs get to eat. Not that I would ever give him my human food or whatever's left, because I wouldn't. But because I established feeding hierarchy very early on with him, he fully understands that that's my food, and he'll get food when I'm done. But because he likes to be in my face or likes to be in my lap, things like that, it's just sometimes a lot easier to crate him while I'm eating. And so sometimes, especially since during the weekdays, I eat and then I go to work, basically. And he's crated while I'm at work. Still, he's still definitely very crated, but he does get to go to doggy daycare on Wednesday, so that does break up his, I know I said daycare, didn't I? That was very exciting. So he does get to have his weeks broken up a little bit, but he's still just so destructive that I can't trust him. Matter of fact, I still have him gated on whatever side of the unit I'm on. So like there's right now a gate going towards my bedroom area, so he can only be in the living room or go up these stairs behind me to the baby gate leading up into my parents' unit. And so he's you know, still very destructive. He's calming down, as you can kind of tell, but yeah, he's still very much just, he likes to chew on stuff. That's very golden. Cosmo chewed his whole life. The only difference with Cosmo was he understood what was his and what was not his. Except for cat toys, he would sometimes chew up cat toys. But Apollo still can't differentiate his stuff from my stuff. So sometimes it's just easier. Hi. Hi. No kisses? Okay, that's fine. I don't have to give you kisses. But yeah, so like basically everything Cosmo was, Apollo is the opposite. So I just think it's kind of interesting. And so for a good portion of this year, I did kind of resent him for that, which I feel bad about. But there was a point just a few months ago where I looked at him and something happened where that resentment just left, and all I had left for him was just pure love. Like I said, I always loved him. I never not loved him. I always took care of him properly. I still trained him properly and everything. But he just, I had this resentment towards him because he wasn't Cosmo. And because I missed Cosmo, I just wanted Cosmo back. And I think that was part of my mental health struggles as I grieved Cosmo, and I'm still grieving Cosmo. So specifically I asked about Apollo aside from how's Apollo. Did we do CGC this year? We did not. He's not ready for CGC. I would like to get him ready this year for CGC, but we'll see what happens. And then agility. We worked a little bit at home. I'm not going to throw this right now, Baba, because you're going to not, my tripod's in the way, so I'm not going to throw it right now. I know. Such a bummer. I know. We'll play with it in a little bit, okay? I love you. Good boy. We worked on stuff at home, but every time I found a school, there was like a massively long waiting list to get in, and they don't prioritize Goldens, it seems, because I've been on many waiting lists and have never gotten contacted. So I'm guessing they prioritize dogs that are more like herding breed dogs that are kind of built for the agility course versus Apollo, where Goldens still do very well in agility, but you know, that's not really their forte. Their forte is more sporting stuff, or like the more like coursework of like hunting kind of things. So I don't know if maybe they just prioritize different types of dogs. I have no idea. But I did find a school that doesn't seem to have horrible waiting lists, so I'm hoping to get onto doing agility in an actual school setting this year, in 2023, early on in 2023, I'm hoping. We'll see how that goes. Oh, that's dangerous of where that landed. Anyway, And then specifically, did he calm down? He is calming down, but I think this is pretty much him. He's definitely calmed down to an extent. He actually walks now instead of just runs everywhere, which is great. He can sit down on the couch with me and not like go crazy. But he, like I said, he still has to be crated because he just still can't be trusted. There are still so many things that have gotten holes in them now, like this blanket, for example, because he just likes to rip stuff up. So there's that. Okay, number 2 is where things get emotional. How's Cosmo? Specifically, I asked, were there any other health issues, and is he still alive? No, he's not. So before that video went live last year, he actually passed away, December 27th of 2021. There is a video on my channel as I go through the kind of final days of Cosmo's life there. So I would highly suggest going to watch that video if you are at all, if you're not familiar with how the end of last year went. But that set me spiraling into major depression this year. Part of the reason I stopped making YouTube videos was because I just couldn't do it anymore. I just didn't have the energy. My life basically fell apart for 3.5 months. Basically, my only thing that I would do was I went to work and I did YouTube videos. If I wasn't doing one of those two things, I was in bed crying. And so I got to a point of burnout that just destroyed my soul, and I needed to stop. I needed to put my life back together, and YouTube just needed to take a back seat because of it. That was a major part of why I stopped doing YouTube videos this year. So yes, there was another major health crisis. I was actually made aware of what inevitably ended up killing him back in May, or what was it, April of 2021, when Cosmo went through his health crisis back then, which was a tumor in his heart. They said that they found a mass in his chest. They weren't sure if it was his heart or his lungs. Turned out to be his heart, a right atrial tumor to be exact, which is what inevitably killed him. And I was told that. I was basically told that if the pancreatitis didn't come back, which it never did, if the pancreatitis never came back, that whatever this was probably a tumor, probably cancer, would probably be the end of his life. So how's Nova? She's doing well. She hates me. She hates the dog. But that's what I asked. Does she still hate the puppy? Yes. Matter of fact, a couple of times now in this video, he has gone to try and play with her, and she does not like playing the way he likes to play, which is chasing her. So she still hates the puppy very much. He likes her. But he's gonna have a new friend this Christmas, temporarily. My sister got a new puppy, because less than a year after Cosmo died, Ace, my sister's dog, died. And it was devastating. So last Christmas we lost Cosmo, this Christmas we lost Ace, because it was only just a couple of weeks ago that he passed away. And so it's been a tough year with dogs. So Melissa got herself a new puppy, who I get to meet on Saturday when they come over for Christmas, and I'm very excited. So we celebrate Christmas Eve, if you guys don't know, if you're unfamiliar with my family. It actually is a Norwegian tradition to celebrate Christmas Eve. So anyway, so we have an almost 2-year-old and a 4-month-old in the family right now, and they're gonna have a lot of fun. He's an Australian cattle dog border collie mix, so 2 different herding breeds, which my sister seems to really enjoy herding breeds. I remember asking her advice when I was thinking about getting a collie, because I had never had a herding breed before. We had a German Shepherd growing up, which is a herding breed, but German Shepherds tend to be a very different type of herding breed. Plus, he wasn't my dog, he was my parents' dog, and I just lived with him. Where Cosmo and Apollo were both my dogs, and they're both Goldens. So very different than the herding breed mentality. So I asked her for her advice back then, and she really likes her herding breeds. So I'm proud of her for that. I can't wait to meet him. But Apollo will be having lots and lots of fun with his new fur cousin, right? I think so. I think you're gonna have lots of fun. Anyway, how are the leopard geckos? They're all doing really well. Langley's pretty much hibernating now at this point. Haro is too. She came out last night to munch on some crickets when I threw some crickets in there. Suri came out, Van came out. So everybody's kind of hibernating right now. But Langley came out a few nights ago. But usually they hibernate for a good portion of the winter, and I rarely see them when I'm awake. Because usually if they come out at all, it's when it's pitch black, because they're just not as active as they are during the summertime, because it's just really hard, especially down here, where I'm kind of halfway below the ground, for them to, for me to keep their tanks warm enough where they don't have a hibernation thing going on. Did I get any pets? Yes, I did. And I was going to put a whole, do a whole video, a whole announcement video of me putting together the tank, putting together, I vlogged the day I went to go get him. I just never put that video together. I never edited it. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, what's the point of editing it when I can just make this video and tell you guys about him? So I specifically asked about the axolotl situation, the nano-reef situation, and the cichlid tank situation. And I didn't get any of those, but I got another dog. No, I did not get another dog. Promise I'm not keeping any secrets from you this year, this time around. I'm not keeping any secrets. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I did get another animal that I've always wanted, which is a bearded dragon. I named him Irwin. He is upstairs in my office, my working office. And so he doesn't live down here. He's come down here a couple of times, but he doesn't live down here. He lives upstairs in my office. So there's that. And so yeah, I have that now. He's very cool. I named him Irwin. Did I say that? I named him Irwin after Steve Irwin, because if you guys are unfamiliar, Steve Irwin is the reason I love reptiles and amphibians as much as I do. But also bearded dragons are from Australia, just like Steve Irwin's. So, did I move upstairs? No. So the moving upstairs was entirely contingent on my parents building their house on Lake Superior, which did not happen. There was a lot of, so this is answering both questions of did I move upstairs and did mom and dad build their house. There were a lot of delays because of cost. The design for the house has changed multiple times, and the ability to do the actual production of the house, the actual building of the house has changed because of the fact that obviously it costs a lot of money to build a house, but even more so since the pandemic, because of lumber costs and things like that. So they didn't build their house, so I didn't move upstairs, so I'm still down here. However, my mother has made it clear that in 2023 they are building, and in 2023 I am moving upstairs. So here's hoping. I am very ready to get out of this studio. It was different when it was Cosmo in the studio because he was such a laid-back dog and kind of a couch potato. Apollo needs space, and he does not get it. Granted, I could give him more space. I just can't trust him with more space, so we'll see what actually happens when we move upstairs. Yeah, so the house that was originally going to be built, at some point I would love to have my dad guest star on my channel and build what he originally planned for the house in The Sims. He and I have talked about me showing him how, or teaching him how to build in The Sims, because one, he thinks he might enjoy that just as kind of a fun thing to do, but also not play The Sims, but build in The Sims, because he enjoys that kind of stuff. That's the kind of simulation things he enjoys doing, as well as flight simulators, but that's a whole different conversation. But originally it was supposed to be shaped like a lighthouse, essentially. It was going to be 3 stories where the lighthouse shaft is, and then the main part of the house, and it was going to be super cool. But that has changed now multiple times, and they're no longer doing that. They'll eventually do something lighthousey, but most probably more like a shed, or on top of the garage, something like that. Which they were actually going to do at one point at this house, but that would have been very out of place in the Twin Cities, but also the city said no. So, Update on books. Did I finish Deepwater? I did. I am currently working on my 3rd draft of Deepwater, and basically I'm just having Word read it to me and changing something that just comes through. So my plan with Deepwater was, it'll be my debut novel. My plan with Deepwater has been, and it's so far has gone through correctly. I wrote it, gave it a little bit of time, then I went through it for a second draft for stuff that I personally wanted to change, and then my mom read it, gave me some advice, I changed the things she wanted, and now I'm going through it just to verify there are no further changes I would like to make now that I've been kind of away from it again for about a month or so. Then it'll go to beta readers, and then they will give me more advice about slow moments or things like that, or problematic things like that. And then I'll go through it a 4th time, and then it's going to go to the editor, professional editor, and then I'll go through it a 5th time, and then I will set it ready for publication. I will get physical books and ebooks set up to go out to ARC readers, advanced reader copy readers, and hopefully have some reviews on Amazon and Goodreads and things like that before it actually becomes available. But my target right now is May of 2023 to release that book. It Was Always You. I've not really worked on that one since I wrote it. However, I have kind of thought about that story and kind of decided I want to redo some of it. Since I did write more, like I finished Deepwater, I wrote another first draft of a romance novel since then, and I really like writing from dual perspective. That one's not told in dual perspective, which means that it kind of was told in a longer format, which now I'm thinking I do want to decrease it down to just the initial week and tell it from dual perspective. So there's gonna be a lot of rewrites for that one coming up. So I haven't taken that on just yet, just because that one's kind of on the back burner for right now. And then NaNoWriMo, did I compete in that again this year? I did, and I won. I should have worn that shirt, but I haven't washed it yet. I like to wash my clothes before I wear them, just for no other reason than just I do. It's just a habit of mine, from when, you know, you would buy clothes from an actual physical store, which I haven't done in a really long time. And even if I do, I don't actually go into the store anymore. I just buy it from Target and then pick it up. But, you know, just the idea that a lot of people have tried it on, blah, blah, blah. I wash it before I wear that. So it's kind of a habit. But I did win it this year. It was right down to the brink. I finished it the day that it ended. The NaNoWriMo ended on November 30th, because the first part of the month was insane for me. And I was so busy and just, I couldn't get anything accomplished. It is all chronicled on my TikTok, so if you're at all curious, you can go there and watch those videos. But I am doing my young adult novel that I started a million years ago, that I just decided to completely and utterly rewrite, and I really like it. It's not even close to being finished because it's a sci-fi, so 50,000 words does not cover it. But again, I like telling stories from dual perspectives, so I am thinking about going back and actually inserting other perspectives in that book and telling the story from all of the main characters' point of views, and instead of just the one. So I think that will be kind of fun and exciting, to go back and insert those during the second draft writing, but I do want to get the story out first. Any new acting jobs? So this is an interesting topic. I did a lot of soul searching this year, hence the reason I stopped doing YouTube videos. I wanted to see where YouTube fit in the grand scheme of things. Like I said, I'm going to go more into detail in next week's video. I'm actually going to film that pretty much right after I'm done filming this one. Something that has come to my attention, and not through my therapist, it's just kind of my own personal soul searching, is the fact that I love acting. I do. It's still something near and dear to my heart. However, I have also come to the realization that I want to take a break from acting completely. I don't know how long this hiatus is going to be. But I want to reevaluate what acting is in my life, because a lot of my soul searching this year has me come to the conclusion that I think acting was something that I trauma bonded to, and something that it was a trauma response. Wanting to be an actor was a trauma response to wanting to escape my life and step into a different life. So if I was working on an acting project, I could forget about the trauma I was going through, the abuse, the eating disorders, the just the trauma in general. I could forget about that for a while, and I could live a different life, a different existence, a different backstory, and I could be whatever I wanted to be. And as I have come to that realization, I have realized my desire to act has diminished as I have been working on my trauma. It's slowly been happening as time has gone on. First, it was my decision to not do theater anymore. After college, I decided to stop doing theater altogether. That was a really good choice for me at the time. And then I stopped wanting to do movies during college because I realized movies, I mean, I want to do movies, but I want to direct movies, specifically write, produce, direct movies. But the reason for that was because I realized that's not the art. Acting isn't the art of movies, it's being the director. And so then I was I love doing voiceovers. I started doing voiceovers, but I found myself not being motivated. I was motivated for a very long time to audition. And then I felt myself unmotivated to actually do the project. And I was trying to figure out why this year. Why was it that I felt completely unmotivated by acting? And that's because I started working on my trauma. I started trauma therapy, and I think I have really come to this conclusion that acting was something I trauma bonded to, something that was a trauma response. I mean, you think about it, the very first thing I ever did in theater, really, was one of the most traumatic times of my life when my parents split up. They eventually reconciled, but my parents split up. And during that very traumatic time of my life, of my family falling apart, we all genuinely were having a very hard time. And the only thing that made me happy, the only thing that made me feel normal, was when I was doing Cinderella, Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella. It was a very difficult time of my life, and I think I just bonded with acting in that way. And so now I'm coming to this realization of do I really want to do this, or is it something that I found helped me? And so for that, even if that is a thing in my past now, of yes, that's why I wanted to act, was because I needed a reason I needed it as a way to survive. It was a coping mechanism for me. I will always love it for that reason. I'm just trying to figure out who I am outside of acting, because ever since I was 13, that has been my entire identity, aside from being a martial artist. That has been my entire identity. So figuring out who I am without it right now, I think, is crucial. And so I'm taking an indefinite hiatus from acting, which is bizarre for me to even think about doing. And a really weird question was, did I play Miss Bates and Emma again? I don't know why this came up in that video. I know I've thought about it multiple times, like I said in that video, but no, I did not. And I'm still working for the theater that hired me last year. No. I'm not going to get into why I separated from that theater, but no, bad things happened, and I just was like, cool, then I'm done. And I've not talked to the owner since then. I have just kind of distanced myself completely from theater again, because of that experience, and I have no interest in going back right now. How's my health journey? Intuitive eating disorders, healing my soul. So intuitive eating is going really well. I am at a place now where my body is genuinely craving the nutritionally dense foods. I still allow myself chocolate every day because chocolate is amazing and it makes my heart happy. Eating disorders. This is actually a very interesting thing that I brought up last year that actually asked that question, because I have had 2 bouts of anorexia. One was this spring and the other one was around my birthday. Both were around kind of times where one was around Easter, the other one was around my birthday. So like events in my life that caused me to want to stop eating. I am doing much better. I still have my eating disorder voice in my head all the time of like, well, if you worked out more or if you stopped eating, you might look like you did when you were in college. So I'm still working on that. Still working on my body positivity for myself, my body neutrality, my body acceptance for myself. Those are very difficult roads to take, especially when you have a society right in front of your face that's constantly telling you that you are worthless because you're fat, or you're ugly because of your rosacea, or you don't take care of your teeth because they're not straight. Just a lot of very shameful, very shaming things, and things that make no sense, because like, why is not straight teeth saying I don't take care of my teeth? You know what I mean? Like, also very classist, sexist, and of course racist, because everything is racist. And I'm not saying that like as a joke, like that's genuine. Racism is very much integrated into pretty much every facet of American culture. It's frustrating to really be deconstructing all of those things in my head and finding all of the classist elements of my life, all of the racist elements of my life, and all of the internalized misogyny that I experienced in my everyday life, and realizing that I've grown a lot, but I still have a lot more growing to do too. My soul is doing much better though. Obviously last year I had no idea when I made this video that I was going to basically just shut down for 3.5 months, because I had no idea Cosmo was gonna die right after Christmas. So obviously this year has been a very big healing journey for me, because I went through a major grieving process that literally shut me down. I mean, like I said, if I wasn't working or doing a YouTube video, I was in bed crying or sleeping, because I just couldn't live without Cosmo. I couldn't do it. And I knew I had to, because I still had Apollo and I still had Nova and I still had the leopard geckos. But I lost 2 of my pets in 2021 within a few months of each other, and that was just a really hard hit. And losing Cosmo was like losing a piece of me, because if you guys are not familiar with who Cosmo was in my life, Cosmo was in fact an incredibly important factor, because he's what kept me alive. I mean, a lot of people look down on the concept of ESAs because a lot of people misuse the concept. People misuse that word a lot for an emotional support animal. For me, he was crucial to my survival, genuinely crucial to my survival. I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for Cosmo. Cosmo literally saved my life. And so him not being here anymore, even to this day, has been very difficult. I don't cry as much as I used to. My world has changed without him. And so it's like that idea that last year, beginning of the year, it was my whole, like, this whole screen was my grief and me missing Cosmo. And now it's probably like this, where I still miss Cosmo like every day, but there's all this around me now that has changed in my life, and I've built almost an entire year of new memories upon filming this, upon this going up. Obviously it'll be over a year, but I've created barely over a year, couple days over a year, but still. Basically have spent an entire year without him. And so I've built all kinds of new memories with Apollo. I've built all kinds of new memories around just my entire life that don't involve Cosmo. And as harmful as that is to my soul, at the same time, it's also been very healing. So this year, healing my soul has been crucial. because living without Cosmo has been one of the hardest things in my life. And not only that, but like my job has just been difficult. I still enjoy my job, but man, this year has just been a whole bunch of learning because I switched teams with my new position and I had to learn a whole new way of working. And I've lost friends, either like literally we're no longer friends anymore, or I've gotten to a point where I've realized I don't actually mean to some people what they mean to me. And so I've pulled back from a lot of friendships as well. Especially the friends that didn't show up when Cosmo died. I mean, not that I feel like they should have shown up, but so many people didn't check in with me. Even just a text like, hey, I'm sorry. One friend, it took months for them to realize that Cosmo had even passed away. So I've spent the year basically figuring out who my real friends are. I've spent the year deciding what family members I want in my life and which ones I don't. That's a whole different conversation too. I've always said I would never get into my family drama, but I am getting to a point where I'm starting to think that I'm ready to tell that story. Especially because there are people in my life that the reason I wasn't telling those stories was because I didn't want to hurt any of those people. Come to the realization I don't want them in my life anymore. So there's that. So I've done a lot of healing of my soul this year because I had to. I had no other choice. Another thing I did for my health was I went off of birth control. So if you guys are unfamiliar, so if you don't like uterus talk, just mute until this goes away. But I feel like even if you are a penis owner, you should know how uteruses work unless you never plan on being with somebody with a uterus. Because uteruses, or plan on having a child with a uterus, because understanding how uteruses work is crucial, I think, and that's one of the biggest issues of misogyny that exists right now, is the fact that people with penises have very little desire to learn about people with uteruses. And because of that, the studies on the uterus and all of the other parts of that reproductive system has been wildly understudied, and it's tough. But anyway, if you guys are unfamiliar with my journey with my uterus, I have a condition, a syndrome called polycystic ovarian syndrome. I was diagnosed unofficially with it when I was 17, officially when I was 21. What are you doing? Trying to get away from the uterus talk? Your mama has a uterus, so you should listen. Anyway, what? I don't know why you're digging on the couch. You're weird. Anyway, so I was officially diagnosed 2007, 2008, right around there. So 2021, 21, almost, well, okay, I turned 21 in 2007, but like my birthday's late in the year, so usually I'm like off a year, but anyway, and I started going on birth control for that, along with my PMDD, which if you're not familiar is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It's basically PMS on steroids. It's terrible, it's awful, and I hate it. So I started going on birth control for those very reasons. The birth control that I was on was recalled, so I went off of that birth control and never bothered to get on a different one until my body just completely revolted against me because of those two things. So back in 2015, when I worked at Petco, I went back on birth control, and to a point where my doctor and I had decided that I was going to medically stop my periods. And so basically what that means, if you're unfamiliar, is you just don't take the sugar pill, you just continue taking the hormone pills. Because of my form of polycystic ovarian syndrome, I am also what's known as estrogen toxic. So estrogen does not do well in my body. Me putting estrogen into my body does not do well. The estrogen that I create is perfectly fine, but if I put estrogen into my body, it doesn't do well. So birth control pills don't do well. Soy sits with me weird because it releases an estrogen-like hormone into your body. And so soy just doesn't sit well with me because of that. And so I try, it's really hard to stay away from soy, but I do what I can to do that. And yeah, it's just been a really tough time. And my body has now been very poorly taken care of because of that for a very long time. And I'm starting to see some repercussions of it. My blood pressure has gone up to a point that I can't even like go to the dentist because the dentist won't treat me because it's stupid. And so I met with a new OBGYN this year, and we both decided the best option was to go off birth control pills and go with an IUD. So I just had that inserted. The reason I'm actually able to make this video, which is a Monday today, is because I took this weekend, a long weekend. I took Friday off to get the IUD inserted, and today is the Monday after. So I'm still recovering, kind of. I mean, it's complicated. Like, it's not like a real, it is a procedure, but like, it's not like a, surgery of any kind. It's just simply like they put it in there. It hurts. It doesn't hurt. It did not hurt as nearly as bad as I've read on the internet, but that's just me. I have a high pain threshold, so I have no idea. All the years of doing martial arts has increased my pain threshold to an extreme degree. So, like, it hurt, but it was nowhere near as bad as I was expecting it to be, which is great. My uterus is not happy with me right now. It's also the first time I've had a period in like 7 years, so I don't have it anymore. It's done now, but still. Anyway, so there's that. I did that this year. I actually literally just did that. But that was also for my health, and I'm very much looking forward to how the next 6 months, because it takes about 6 months for everything to kind of settle down the way it should. I'm looking forward to how the next 6 months are going to go and how my health will change because of it. But yeah, so did I do anything with my script? When I first was watching my video, when I first asked that question, I was like, what script? And I realized as soon as I said the play I wrote in college, I remembered exactly what I was talking about. I didn't touch it this year. I would still like to do something with it, even though I really don't want to do theater right now. I think really it's more or less I don't want to do acting right now. But playwriting, I will gladly do, and even directing I'll do. I have no problem with doing those things. Are Sari and I working on our movie? No, we didn't talk about it all this year. I think I literally said it in that video. I may have said it on Twitter, and then it just kind of dissipated after that. We still have not worked on that. Is my job still going well? Yes. It's stressful, but I'm still enjoying it. The net, it's more net positive than it is net negative at this point, which is really, really good. And things are going to change this next year, so we'll see how that changes and how my workload changes there. Did I go to LA? Did I do Paramorphicon, Disneyland, Santa Monica? Did I see Kyle and his wife and other friends I have in LA? No. So I did actually plan out going. I 100% planned how exactly it was going to go. I did not buy any of the tickets because I decided to cancel my trip for a couple of reasons. One, I still wanted to take my week off from work around my birthday, which would have been a lot more difficult if I went to Paramorphicon because it's at the end of August. My birthday is in the middle of September. So there's that. Plus, my friend Remy and my friend Dylan and I were going to go to a romance writers convention in Milwaukee. We ended up not going to that either, which is actually ended up being kind of okay because I spent that weekend painting my office, repainting my office upstairs. So it ended up being actually okay, but I did not go. And I was perfectly okay with that. Though I would have liked to have gone because I would have been able to meet JDF again before he ended his life. So kind of my only real disappointment. But I did get to meet some Power Rangers at the convention here in Minneapolis just a few weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. I got to meet Johnny Young Bosch. I've been to a convention with Johnny Young Bosch in it before, but every time I had a chance to try and meet him, I just was not able to. And then Jason Font, both Bulk and Skull, and is that it? That might have been it. Well, I also got to meet some other people that were really cool, like Chantel Van Zanten, who played Quinn in One Tree Hill. She was actually a real sweetheart. I loved her. Did I get a new car? No, but I did finish paying off the Kia. So I did pay off the rest of my car, and I've just been enjoying not having a car payment, which has been really nice. I figured out that I could afford to just finish paying it off. So I just was like, you know what? I'm done, and I paid it off, and everything's good to go. So I've been enjoying that, but I will eventually get a new car once this one starts to be trouble for me. Aside from just headlights going out, which I actually need to bring my car in and get that fixed up sometime this week. I really need to do that. Did I do any new art? No. I literally have not done any art aside from writing this year. That's it. Did I learn saxophone? No. I did look at buying a saxophone though. I didn't do it and did not learn it. Did I get seriously back into martial arts? No. And again, the reason for that was because I needed to and I'm still figuring that out. I need to reevaluate what the future of martial arts looks like for me. Granted, martial arts was not a trauma response or something I trauma bonded to. I probably did trauma bond to martial arts because of all the stuff I went through, but more or less it all boils down to, do I continue with the form of karate that I was doing, or do I do something new? What does that look like? Do I try something brand new that I've never done before? I know I want to stick with striking martial arts because I don't necessarily love grappling. But I just need to kind of reevaluate what I want out of martial arts on the aspect of, do I want to continue what I was doing before, or do I want to start something new? And then finally, are there any big things that wasn't mentioned in these questions? Not really. I think everything else was pretty much spot on. I think just like last year, I think everything was pretty spot on from this year. But I don't know. I can't really think of anything too crazy that happened this year that I didn't mention in the questions here. So there is 2022. Let's talk about 2023. Let's ask questions for me to answer for next year this time. So number one, how's Apollo? Who's actually learning how to rest on the couch right next to me. This is not normal, and I'm loving it. Are you finally growing up? Are you finally maturing a little bit? That's fantastic. I love you. You're a good boy. You're being a very good boy. I know you look very bored though. Did we start doing agility on an actual professional level? Actually go to a class instead of just doing stuff that we have with the stuff we have. How's Nova? Obviously, I'm just going to always ask about my animals. How's Irwin? How are the leopard geckos? Answer all those questions. Did I finally move upstairs? I am very much looking forward to moving upstairs. Like I said, I'm so ready to be out of this studio. I am so ready to get new furniture. This couch, as much as I love this couch is very well worn. And it's very broken, actually. There's a lot of broken pieces of this couch. There's actually a hole over here in the wall because there's a piece of wood that sticks out and it just kind of burrows into the wall. One of the, which I think this is probably fixable down here, but one of the supports down at the bottom is now broken. I think there's another broken piece over here as well. It's just a very broken couch now. I will keep this couch. It'll go in the what we'll call the animal room when that's done, because it's actually not even technically built yet. We have a 3-season porch we're going to turn into a sunroom, and that's where all the animal stuff is going to go. That's where this is going to go. So it'll be kind of the animal bed for the animals to sleep on, which we'll get to in a minute. It's coming. That question's coming. But yeah. Did I start posting regularly on YouTube again? We're going to talk about the new plan and the new direction of my channel. Speaking of which, how is the new direction going? But we're going to talk about that next week. The new direction and how often I'm actually going to post. But how is that going? Did I actually start doing that? Did I go with my new plan? And how is that new direction going? How'd the release of Deepwater go? Again, the plan is to release it in May of 2023. Did I meet that deadline, or am I pushing it back? Because I've not announced any kind of actual official date. I've just been saying May of 2023. If I have to push it back, I have to push it back. It's not a big deal. But how'd that go? Did it do well? Do you have a movie deal yet? Probably. That's a joke question. No, I don't. Oh, that's the other thing I don't think I mentioned was, because I think specifically in my video last year, I asked if I was querying. I'm not querying. I'm going to self-publish. At that time, I was pretty convinced I was going to go traditional, just because of the marketing benefits of going traditional. But I have come to the realization that the benefits of going self-publishing, of going indie, is far outweigh the benefits of trad publishing. So I'm definitely not going traditional. I'm definitely self-publishing. Plus, with all of the changes within traditional publishing this year of like massive walkouts and strikes and stuff, I just can't support traditional publishing anymore. It's not good. So how'd the release of Deepwater go? Did I release another second book this year? If I did, which one did I release? Did I go with another romance book, or did I go with one of my young adult novels? So it's going to be written under a different name, which I'm not going to be secretive about. It's just going to be an easy way for parents to know if it's a safe book for their child to read or not a safe book for their child to read, because spice. Anyway, here it is. So I said I'm not going to keep any secrets. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm not going to get another animal. So the one thing that Apollo has really taught me this year, and we're going to learn more about that over Christmas, because he's going to interact with a puppy in his space for the first time. But ever since Cosmo passed away, Apollo has been very antsy with Cat and very antsy with me. I think he needs a companion. So my question is, did I get another dog? So I'm actively starting that process right now, starting to actively look again. I don't think I'm going to go golden again. There is a possibility I might, but I really don't think I'm going to. I'm not going to say when I'm thinking about getting a dog, and I'm still probably going to give it a couple of months before I actually let you know when I have this other dog. But yeah, I'm probably getting another dog this year in 2023. So we'll see how that goes. Am I still taking my hiatus from acting? That's a question that I really, really want to know. And I guess more specifically, how is that going? Is that as healing as you were hoping it was going to be? Have you found your identity outside of being an actor? How is that going? How's TikTok going? Right now, TikTok is the most successful social media platform you are on. It gets the most views, you have the most followers, and not that that's important, but when you're trying to be a full-time creative and also market yourself as a creative, a following on social media is important. And so it's not like a vanity thing of like, I want all the followers, but it is like genuinely part of my business model. And so because of that, I will be putting more effort into TikTok because of that. Unless this channel can finally grow. So if you want me to start doing more YouTube videos, make it worth my time and share my stuff. Because as much as I try to do what I can with SEO, sharing a creative's work is by far the easiest and most affordable way to help that creative. So, again, we're going to talk about that in the next video next week. How's your health journey going? Where are you at with that? Again, I guess kind of on top of that, how was your first year with having an IUD? Because by the time we do this video next year, you'll have had it for a year. How is all of that going? What are some changes that you've noticed about your body over the course of 2023 with having this thing inside your uterus? Is it even still there? Because I haven't had a checkup yet. We can do a checkup 5 weeks later to make sure it's still there. How's martial arts going? Did you figure out what you want to do? Have you initiated that aspect of your life again? Or are you still just doing stuff at home because you can? And you can't live a day without doing it. How's the job going? Did you get your raise that you're hoping to get in 2023? Are you still within your same position? How is all of that going without getting too specific about what we do with our life? Because again, security purposes, I really don't talk about what I do or where I work or anything like that. All you guys know, it's an office job situation and I work from home for the most part. I sometimes go into the office, but very rarely. I was actually just in the office last week. Did you do any fun trips? Because you are planning all kinds of fun trips in 2023, but you know you can't do them all. So which ones did you do? Did you do any of them? I have looked into going to Norway this year. I have looked into going to New York this year. I have looked into going back to Vancouver this year. I have looked into doing a lot of things. And plus, Nikki and I have our 30-year anniversary of the urban legend of how we met. And so we're deciding whether or not we want to go with the urban legend or the official 30-year anniversary of when we met. Which one are we going with? And did we do anything fun? We're planning on a trip. You've also thought about maybe doing another cruise. How's that going? Like, there's a lot happening, mostly because deep water makes you miss doing cruises, and you've never experienced a cruise as an adult, and so I really want to do it. We'll see. Did you get your home gym built the way you want it? So when I move upstairs, one of the rooms upstairs in the second level of the house will be my home gym. Granted, I won't be able to fit, because of the height of the ceiling, I won't be able to fit my elliptical up there that I want to get, but did I get that built the way I want to? How's that going? How's working out in general? Because I really love working out. So I've been thinking a lot about going back to school again and getting an MBA, a Master's of Business Administration. And so did I get into an MBA program, and specifically did I go back to St. Cloud State University? I would be doing it online, so it's not like that's a security issue letting you know that I would be doing that. But did I do that? Because I'm curious. How the conventions go this year. So obviously I'm back to staffing Anime Detour. I took this year off staffing Anime Detour 2022 because it was right over my sister's 40th birthday, so I didn't want to miss that. But I also I have some issues with the con chair, as a lot of people at that convention do. So I'm hoping he kind of steps down soon and I can just be done with him forever. But yeah, so how did that all go? Plus I'm staffing another new convention, which I didn't touch on. I guess that's something that happened this year that I wasn't expecting. I ended up joining another staff convention, and I'm head of guest relations again for another convention in Wisconsin. So, yeah, that's fun. Am I going to continue doing that? Because I will have done that obviously already. That'll be next September. How is that going? Did I go back to Twin Cities Con again this year? Who did I get to meet? Things like that. So how did convention life go this year? Because there will be 3 conventions probably this next year, and that'll be exciting. I already asked 2 of the questions here at the bottom. So let's see. Any new pets aside from the possible new puppy? Because again, you still want an axolotl. You still want to set up a cichlid tank in the 55. You still also want to set up a nano reef in your 25. Because now you're moving upstairs, hopefully this year. Did you do any of those things? More likely than not, you probably set up, at the very least, I would guess that I set up the cichlid tank, because that's probably the most realistic and easiest to maintain. So more likely than not, if anything, I set up the cichlid tank. But I don't see myself getting any more reptiles or amphibians, because I think the 5 that I have, the 5 reptiles I have, is enough. So I don't think I did that. But if anything, did I set up any of those 3 things again, like I asked last year? Let me see. I want to do 20, but I think I'd have to think of one more, because again, just like always, I have one final question that I'll ask at the very end. What's another good question? Because I had combining questions that were kind of similar. Did you do anything else that was super creative throughout the course of the year, whether it be art or whether that be, did you get back into acting, or did you direct anything fun? Did you make a movie? Anything like that. Did you do anything creative outside of writing, which is your primary focus right now? And then finally, of course, just like I asked last year, is there anything outstanding that we did not cover in these questions that kind of sprung up this year? I would like to know the answer to that question. And there you have it. So there it is. My year-end video is done. My first video in months is done. I can't believe it. Now it's a matter of making sure I actually just get off my butt and actually edit it to be uploaded next week. So I hope you guys have a good New Year's. I hope you guys had a great holiday season. Whatever holiday you celebrate, let me know in the comments below some major things that happened in your life this year if you want to share that, or what holiday you celebrate this time of year. Do you celebrate Hanukkah? Do you celebrate Christmas? Yeah, let me know in the comments below what holiday you celebrate this time of year. I don't know anybody that celebrates Kwanzaa, but do you celebrate Kwanzaa? Anything like that? Let me know. And let me know your favorite tradition from that holiday. And I will see you all next week, which will probably be the last time you'll see 2 videos in a row like this again for a while, and we'll talk about that next week. So until next Thursday, the first Thursday of the year of 2023, I'll see you all next time. If you guys want to see last year's video, you guys can click right here. If you guys want to see 2020's video, you guys can click right here. You guys can click right here to subscribe to this channel, because I have decided to completely negate the fact that I have a vlogging channel, just for ease of the fact that I just want everything on one channel. And again, that's going to be talked about next week. I'll see you all next time. Bye.